These are the only things I look at when buying an altcoin. It's actually only 3 metrics I look at that I call the basket method, because it's going to help us break down altcoins and decide, do we want to put it into our left basket or do we want to put it into our right basket? Now we'll break down what those baskets are later, but essentially this fundamental way of buying altcoins has helped me to invest in things I love, invest in things that I don't really care for, and I've even invested in something that I know nothing about just by taking this approach to crypto and understanding what this fundamental idea of breaking these altcoins down into baskets can do for me. The first metric that you want to look at when using the basket method is the fundamental idea of the altcoin. So we have a bunch of altcoins out there. Let's say you want to invest into some new altcoin and you don't really know if this is something you should invest in. Well, this is where the basket method comes into play. On our left side, we're going to have the long-term hold basket, and on the right side we're going to have our short-term riskier play basket. Now crypto is inherently risky altogether, but there's still safer and riskier cryptos, and essentially by safer, it's something we're willing to hold longer term. Something riskier is something we're willing to hold shorter term. Now with this first metric in the basket method, we're going to ask ourselves, what is the fundamental idea of this altcoin? Does it have good product market fit? Is it a product that the current market needs or wants in crypto? Has something like this come out before? Does it have a history of success either on different chains or with competitors? Has this succeeded before? And how feasible do we think the altcoin's idea of inception is? So if you want to break this down into an example, if we take Bitcoin, that would be in my left long-term basket because one, Bitcoin is the longest history of crypto in crypto. It's the inception. It's the largest market cap. We see that the market needs it and wants it, and it provides a unique service, being the store of value that people are looking for against dollars and euros and JPY. They want a safe haven, and they're going to use the largest crypto by market cap to do that. So Bitcoin is something I'd be willing to hold for 10 plus years. It's in our left basket as a safer asset. Now, if you bring something to me like a gaming coin, like Gala Games or ICP or Solana, I would probably put that into my right basket. Now, these tokens are inherently riskier. They're ideas, maybe Solana is kind of in between, but ICP, Gala Games, AI, metaverse, all these things, we don't really know if those are successes. We don't really know if those ideas are truly needed in the marketplace, right? Like everyone says crypto gaming is going to be huge. I don't really feel the need for a crypto game. I like playing Call of Duty, right? And so until these games in crypto can compare with like Call of Duty and FIFA and all these crazy things, they're going to be risky assets. Now, you can also think like these tokens, these ICPs, these gaming coins, are they inflationary, deflationary? Like what are the fundamental market values that these things have? And that it just, in my opinion, puts them in our risky basket for something you would only want to hold for less than a year. Now, right now, if you were to invest in something right now and you're looking at an altcoin, it's not so bad if you're just trying to make money to invest in a risky thing. I think everyone expects 2024 to be a good year for crypto. But if you're looking at an altcoin right now and you're in this first metric and you're asking yourself, what is the fundamental idea of what this crypto provides? You want to break it down and understand, is this something I would be willing to hold for 10 years based on its fundamental ideas? Is it a proof of work L1 that is forked off Bitcoin or has Bitcoin theses, or is it a proof of stake like Cardano that has Bitcoin theses? Those would be in my long-term holds that I'm willing to hold for multiple years no matter what happens in the crypto space. Or is this altcoin you're looking at something like an AI-based product, a gaming product, a metaverse product, a meme coin? These would be in our shorter-term right basket that are inherently riskier that you wouldn't want to hold for more than a year. You might invest into it after the halving. You might invest into it with the hopes of getting out in a couple months, but they're not something you would want to hold over years and years and years. Now, after you ask yourself this question of where does this altcoin I want to invest in fit on the fundamental aspect, then you can move into metric number 2 and ask yourself, what are the tokenomics of this altcoin and what is the decentralization like? Again, on our left side, we're going to have our longer term, less risky holds. Think Bitcoin, think Cardano, think tokens that have capped supply and 90% or 70% to the public and are 70% liquidity released, right? There's not a lot of inflation. There's no new tokens created, and they're fundamentally sound tokens with lots of nodes and lots of decentralization that anyone can spin up and start to help the network. on our short-term risky right-hand basket, we're going to think about our inflationary and deflationary stuff. We're going to think about things where you need X amount of coins or X amount of money to start a node. We're going to think about things that, are heavily venture capitalist backed, or that only have 30% supply release, or that only have 30% released to the public and have a lot of pre-sales and private sales, right? So you can understand how these different aspects correlate to the crypto markets. If you are looking at an altcoin today and you say, well, I think it's going to do well. Let's say it's a meme coin or something, and you say, I think it's going to do well in the short term. You would put it in the right basket. You would understand that, hey, this is something that I think I can make money on. It doesn't have the best fundamentals, but if I'm just looking to make money over a short period of time, less than a year, it might be worth the risk to invest in. If you're thinking, man, I can't wait for 2026 or 2025 when the bull market is at its top and I can sell, you might be looking at longer term plays. Or if your altcoin is something that is fundamentally sound, like an ergo with, a lot of supply released and it's capped supply and it's, anyone can start mining, anyone can start a node, right? As ASIC resistant, this would be in a long-term category play. Now, when you're making these distinctions, before we get onto the third metric, when you're making these distinctions, neither side is good or bad. But as you categorize these altcoins that you want to invest in, you need to understand, is it moving to the left side or is it moving to the right side? Is it something I want to invest in and hold for a long-term strategy? Or is it something that I need to get in and get out of and be quick and intentional with my investment? And a great example of this would be like a new DEX that's coming onto a new layer one that you believe in. Let's say like a new DEX is coming to Cardano and, we just don't know. We want to categorize it and we want to understand what kind of investment is this going to be. Well, with this DEX, a couple things I would tell you is that we've seen DEXs do really well on Ethereum and PancakeSwap in the 2021 bull run, in our last previous bull market, right? Uniswap and PancakeSwap both did very, very well for themselves on Ethereum and on Binance, their respected chains. Now, Cardano didn't really have DEXs. It didn't give DEXs enough time to grow in the last bull run. So we have a fundamental idea that DEXs historically do well on the layer one that they live on, specifically the biggest DEX on a chain. Currently on Cardano, that might be MinSwap, right? Although the liquidity is not totally out there yet. But when you're looking at a new DEX coin on Cardano, you can begin to say, well, I've seen things like this happen. I realistically think it could happen again if this DEX has the fundamentals, the tokenomics, the decentralization that I come to expect. Also, if you say, I've seen historically these DEXs do very, very well, but this DEX doesn't have a very good decentralized tokenomics, you say, well, maybe when 2025 rolls around, I start investing into it just for a couple months to get, the 100% gain or the 10x or whatever kind of move it's going to make after Cardano does a big run. Cardano's ADA does a big run. So you maybe invest into ADA and then move it into the DEX and move it back into ADA in an appropriate time using this method. The third and final metric that you want to look at when you're understanding the basket method and trying to figure out, should I invest into a specific altcoin or not, you want to ask, what is the current timing of the market? How are the overall crypto markets doing? And how are the overall macro and micro environments doing wherever you live? So right now, if you're looking to invest into a random altcoin, maybe a new layer one, or maybe a gaming coin, maybe Quant, maybe HBAR, maybe Solana, maybe Alethea, maybe Ergo, any of these products, if you're looking to invest into it right now, you could say, well, inflation's paused. I live in America, so inflation has been paused. Rate hikes are paused. We might be cutting rates this year, and if that happens, that would be positive for markets by allowing liquidity to flow easier, putting more liquidity into people's hands, making it easier to get money, stuff like that. You would expect risk assets to do better overall, whether it's stocks, houses, or crypto, or even altcoins, right? If the scenario was that the crypto markets are not doing well, Bitcoin's going down, maybe this is not the time to invest into the short-term risky gaming AI play. If the market's doing really well and, you can see that people are investing more money and Bitcoin's, doubling in price, maybe it is the time to invest into gaming, AI, riskier short-term assets. When we're in the deep of the bear market, you would have been best off just buying Bitcoin and long-term assets and Cardano and Solana at $8. These longer-term holds that fundamentally have survived a couple markets, have survived a couple bull and bear markets. So in the crypto markets, the third thing you want to look at is, what's happening in the market? Are we going up and down? Do I have enough money? For me specifically, am I in a financially good position to make these riskier investments that, you know, can help change my life, or I can lose it all, right? So there are a lot of ways that you can look at this in order to basketize different altcoins and understand what kind of investment thesis it is without saying an altcoin is a good or a bad investment, because they're not good and bad investments. They're just long-term and short-term investments depending on what you need currently. To keep it really simple and sum it up, when you're investing into altcoins, new tokens, and you're doing the research on them, obviously you always want to understand what, like, you want to do your research and try and figure out what kind of investment this is. Now, if you're looking at something crazy like ICP or Cardano or like a Gala Games or HBAR or Quant, you know, just you're looking at all these different things, it can get overwhelming. When it gets overwhelming, the fundamental simple ways that you can look at these things is ask yourself, what is this token trying to do, and how is that going to help me as an investor, right? Is it trying to do something that's feasible, that has been done, but maybe a little bit better, or maybe a short-term integration, or maybe like, you know, adding on to the next thing? Then, after you understand the fundamental idea, look at the tokenomics, look at the centralization, and understand, you know, is this something that I'd be willing to invest in? It can have a great fundamental idea, but if the tokenomics are skewy and, you know, not a lot of public token allocation, then it would shift from your left basket to your right basket. If the market conditions are bad, maybe you still don't want to invest in it. So this is how I'm looking at altcoins and breaking these things down into understanding, is this something I want to invest in right now, or is it something I want to wait around for? In 2023, I did a lot of waiting. I did a lot of sitting on cash. I did a lot of holding off. I did a lot of investing in Cardano early in 2023, but, you know, I just didn't feel like the time was right for me. And then recently, this last week, I started investing in the things I love again, like Ergo and Alephium. I just feel like the time is right. There's something I understand, you know, Ergo has a little bit better tokenomics than something like an Alephium. Alephium has a lot of supply that's still got to come out. But I think realistically, if we're going to come into the next bull market in the next year, it's an okay investment for right now. But this is basically how I'm breaking down my altcoin investments and understanding what I want to invest into, when I want to invest into it, and how much I want to invest into it, all right? Hopefully you found some value in that, and we will see you in the next video.